Hi there, I'm Machine Pun Kelly, aka MPK, and today I want to start a conversation about climate change. Imagine you're skydiving with a friend, plummeting toward Earth at 100 miles an hour. The wind roars, your heart races, and the ground below gets closer every second. You shout, "Wow, that gravity is really working," and your friend responds, "Gravity? Do you still believe in that hoax?" You respond, "Dude, we're falling right now. How can you not believe in gravity?" So he starts spinning some crazy conspiracy theory about how big physics is just paid by the government to make you believe that. So you say, "We better pull our chutes now," and he replies, "We don't need to do that. We haven't even hit the ground yet." Waiting to hit the ground to believe in gravity is as absurd as waiting for climate change to wreck the planet before acting. It's not about whether it'll happen. It's happening now. And if we don't pull the chute fast, it's going to get a whole lot worse. And that is what I'm going to spend the next few weeks here diving into. Because where our skydiving analogy falls short is that we're all in this together. We either all pull our chutes or they don't work. I'll be addressing those issues on this channel, diving down every rabbit hole I can find to really get my head wrapped around a pretty complicated problem. I'll look into the different aspects of climate change and why they matter, and then I'll pivot to alternative energy and what can be done to stop it from getting worse. Let's start with why we know climate change is real. It's measurable, like the altimeter ticking down as you fall. Since the 1800s, humans have burned coal, oil, and gas, pumping carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. CO2 levels are up from 280 parts per million pre-industrial to 420 today. That's not a guess. Scientists measure it at stations like Mauna Loa in Hawaii. CO2 traps heat like a blanket on a summer night, which causes warming. Earth's average temperature has risen 1.1 degrees Celsius since 1900, tracked by NASA and NOAA. That's not weather fluctuates noise. It's a clear signal, like the ground rushing up in free fall. You can see it in the data. Glaciers are shrinking. Greenland's ice sheet lost 280 billion tons in just 1 year, from 2002 to 2021. Sea levels are creeping up, 3.7 millimeters annually, measured by satellites. That's why places like Miami flood on sunny days now. Extreme weather is spiking too. Since 1980, floods, storms, droughts, and heat waves have jumped 20 to 40% per NOAA's disaster records. In 2022, Pakistan's floods submerged a third of the country, displacing 33 million. In 2023, India hit wet bulb temperatures, heat and humidity so intense you can't cool off by sweating, killing thousands. These aren't random occurrences. Warmer air holds 7% more moisture per degree, fueling bigger storms. Hotter oceans, up 1 degree since 1900, churn out stronger hurricanes. We're falling, and the evidence is all around us. Skeptics might argue the climate's always changed, sure, over millennia, ice ages, warm periods, but those took thousands of years, driven by Earth's orbit or volcanoes. Today's change is 100 times faster, tied to human emissions. Ice cores, tree rings, and ocean sediments show nothing like this in 800,000 years. Others say it's not that bad yet. That's like saying you don't need a parachute because you're still a mile up. The impacts are here. 220 million people have been displaced by weather disasters from 2015 to 2024, per UNHCR. Farmers in Africa lose crops to locusts thriving in warmer, wetter conditions. Coastal communities in Bangladesh abandon saline-soaked fields. We're not waiting to hit the ground. We're already scraping branches. Now, let's talk about what happens if we don't act. Why this fall could end in a crash. Without slashing emissions, we're headed for 4 to 6 degrees of warming by 2100 per IPCC models. Start with heat. Wet bulb temperatures above 35 degrees Celsius, lethal without cooling, could hit South Asia, the Persian Gulf, and Africa annually by 2070. Billions live there. You can't farm, work, or survive outdoors. It's like trying to breathe in a sauna with no exit. Mass migration follows, dwarfing today's 220 million displaced. By 2100, 1 to 3 billion could be on the move, per projections. Then, there's food. Crops like wheat and rice could drop 30 to 50% in tropical regions due to heat, drought, and pests. The Nile Delta, feeding half of Egypt, faces salinization from rising seas, 1 to 2 meters by 2100, ruining aquifers and farmland. 7 to 10 million Egyptians could flee. The Amazon, our planet's lungs, risks turning into a savanna, a grassy wasteland. That shift could release 50 to 70 billion tons of carbon, like a giant earth fart, adding 0.1 to 0.3 degrees of warming. Less forest means less rainfall, starving South American agriculture. Global hunger spikes, and economies tank with a 20 to 50% GDP loss by 2100, costing $500 trillion. Ecosystems collapse too. Half of Earth's species could vanish as coral reefs die and forests like the Amazon degrade. Permafrost thaws, releasing methane, a gas 25 times worse than CO2, accelerating the fall. Ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica melt, locking in 5 to 10 meters of sea level rise over centuries. Coastal cities, New York, Shanghai, drown. Small islands like the Maldives disappear. These tipping points, once crossed, are like pulling the chute too late. You can't go back up. You can only go down. Society itself could fracture. Resource wars over water and land erupt. Think Nile conflicts or Arctic scrambles. Nations like Kiribati vanish underwater, while others, stretched by floods and refugees, lose control. The 1951 Refugee Convention doesn't recognize climate refugees, leaving millions in limbo, as we discussed. Governance crumbles in weak states, and even strong ones militarize borders. Civilization, our cities, trade, tech, couldn't survive intact. It's not total extinction, but a fragmented, post-apocalyptic world where nations as we know them barely hold. We're not doomed yet, but we need to pull the chute now. That means slashing emissions 50% by 2030, hitting net zero by 2050. Renewables. Solar, wind are already cheaper than coal in many places per IRENA. They powered 30% of global electricity in 2023. Scaling them up, plus nuclear and efficiency, cuts the fossil fuel cord. Protect the Amazon. Brazil's 50% deforestation drop in 2023 shows it's possible. Fund poorer nations to leapfrog coal. $100 billion a year could do it. Carbon capture and reforestation buy time. AI, despite its energy guzzle, can optimize grids and predict disasters, as we noted. Delaying action is like arguing over parachutes at 1,000 feet. Sure, gas prices might nudge up, maybe 50 cents a gallon by 2030 with carbon taxes. But that's pocket change compared to $500 trillion in damages or billions fleeing uninhabitable lands. Waiting to hit the ground, a 6-degree world, means famine, flooded cities, and collapsed societies. The cost of inaction is a crash we can't walk away from. We know climate change is happening because we measure it: CO2, temperature, seas, storms. We see it in 220 million displaced, farmers losing crops to pests, and deltas turning saline. It's like feeling the wind as you fall. And we know it'll get worse: heat waves, tipping points, mass migration, if we don't act. The ground's coming fast. We've got the shoot. Clean energy, forest protection, global cooperation. Pull it now, or we're not just arguing about gravity. We're proving it the hard way. Once again, I'm Machine Pun Kelly, aka MPK, and thanks for watching. If you want to watch all my videos on this subject, I have a